Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're tackling some last minute RV maintenance that needs to be done to the travel trailer as we make the push to get back out onto the road. And today, that means repacking wheel bearings. So that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get this castle nut off and take a look and see what we got going on inside. So here we got our castle nut and our retaining washer and our regular washer that holds the hub on. That retaining washer, this is kind of special to these Dexter axles, where it has the D-shaped spindle on it. And these are a tang washer, and I'll put a link down in the description down below. I had a hard time finding these the first time that I repacked the bearings. It's not something you can normally buy locally, or at least the auto parts store don't seem to know what you're talking about. So I'll put a link down below if you're needing to get a set of these. He looks good, no real abnormal wear. So they make a tool to remove the seal. But I found if you just got a nice pair of channel locks, you can get underneath the edge of that seal and you can go ahead and it'll pop right out for you. Let's get the inside of this hub all wiped out, and we're going to go ahead and clean up all of our stuff with some brake cleaner. I found it's the simplest, easiest way to get this stuff clean, and you go through about a can per wheel, so usually about 4 or 5 cans will do everything we need to do on our RV. If you have more wheels, you might need a little bit more. So there's our bearing all clean. We can see all the rollers in there real well. Flip this over. You see we've got majority of the grease out of there. You can tell when you can rattle the bearing that the majority of the grease is out of there. And we want to go ahead and we want to inspect this bearing. Make sure there's no cracks in the cage of the bearing, that there's no signs of heat or burning of a bearing or cracking and things like that. And as long as all is good, we can repack and reuse this bearing. And so then we'll go ahead and we'll clean up the front bearing and the rest of the parts. So just as a side note, you should be doing this maintenance every year or every 10 to 12,000 miles, whichever comes first. Okay, so we're casting this ready. Now this here's the retaining clip for the castle nut. Some axles use a cutter pin. This is a Dexter axle, and these don't. They're a D-ring axle, and they use these little washers with the little bunny ears on them, and you bend one of the ears over into the castle nut to hold it in place. That's why I had some difficulty getting the nut off, even when you straighten them up. Sometimes it drags a little bit on the nut as you're trying to get it off, but we're not going to clean this one because I'm going to install a new one today. After a couple uses, these can break off, so I suggest going ahead, replacing these every couple years. You only use one of the bend items each time you do it, so you can get couple years out of these, but I'm going to go ahead and install new ones today. And if you're interested in where to get these, I'll put a link in the description down below. So, got our nice red, sticky, high temperature wheel bearing grease, and we'll go ahead and we'll get our bearings packed. So you can pack these with a wheel bearing packer tool. You see a lot of the guys on YouTube packing the wheel bearings using one because it presses through. You don't necessarily need one though. As long as you pay attention to what you're doing, make sure that it's getting up really good up in between the bearings. I'm packing the old-fashioned way by hand. Been doing this for years. I've never had a single problem with any of this. So we get a ball of grease in our hand, and on the big side of the bearing, we want to take it and we just want to kind of drag it into the grease. As you can see, it starts pushing it up into the bearing. Okay, so it's good. It's all up in there for all the bearings. It doesn't rattle anymore. So you know you got a lot of grease up inside there. Now, we already got this pretty greasy. Normally I would say we can come down here on the rings, put a little bit of grease down in there as well. And then we want to drop our rear bearing into place. We're going to put a little bit of grease running up around, even where that seal is going to run. It gives that seal a little bit extra lubricant to slide up where it has to run on there so that it doesn't tear the seal. So the reason I really like these seals that I get from Amazon, I don't know if you can see it there or not. This here has a double lip. Helps seal a little bit better than a single lip. And the ones that are locally that you can buy at the auto parts store are typically just a single lip. But these are double lip. And I've used these for years on our trailer. They're a lot cheaper on Amazon than buying locally. And they just do the job. Okay, so to install the seal, you can have a seal driver. You can use a block of wood. The thing I found best is just use a little ball peen hammer. Just take your time. Don't rush it. If you rush it, you're going to bend the seal and then you're going to have to pull it out and replace it. So we're just going to kind of set it here on top, and we're going to kind of just real lightly just kind of start it around the edge. Try to keep it flush as it goes around. And you want to tap those down until it's flush with the steel of the hub. So right there you can see how the hammer changes. Now that seal is in place and it's ready to go back on the trailer. Alright, there we go. It went all the way up in there. So you got to wiggle that till that goes all the way in and that bearing's completely seated. Behind that, we install our washer. Okay, so the way these go in, this goes in first, and the ears stick up where the D is cut out on the axle. Okay, so right there we're starting to tighten up. So then we start turning our drum. There we're starting to feel some resistance. So now we back this off to where our retaining clip can line up with a hole in the castle nut. Take our screwdriver. Underneath him. bend him up. There we go. Get him back into the castle nut. Okay, we can put a wheel bearing cap back on. And that wheel bearing's done. So we've made it out on the road, and I realized I completely forgot to film an exit for this video. So I wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know after we finished up that wheel bearing. The other 3 wheels are simple. This is an easy do-it-yourself project. You can save a bunch of money in doing this every year on your own RV instead of paying someone to do it. And I'd like to hear down in the comments what you guys do when you pack your RV bearings, or if you're paying somebody to do them and now maybe you will be able to do it yourself, or if you just want to say hi. We always enjoy the comments on the videos. And until next time, guys, if we don't catch you out on the road, we'll see you in the next video.